All right, Jeremy Miner here. Welcome to another episode of Closers Are Losers. Here with one of my business partners and CEO, Matt Ryder, all the way down under. See, you're working from home today.
Yes. Thursdays, I like to try to work from home.
Thursdays, you like to work from home. There you go, brother. All right. Now, today we're going to cover how to effectively close. Now, at 7th level with NEPQ neuro-emotional persuasion questions, we've gone over this the past several weeks, kind of broken down the NEPQ sales process. We had so many people have always asked, and if you're not a client, you just wouldn't know, right? So when we say closing, we don't necessarily like to use the word, you're closing. We like to use the word commit, all right? We want the prospect to commit to the next step, taking the next step to purchase what we're offering. Now, commitment can come in two different forms though. If you're selling, if you're more in the, let me get a red grip. If you're more in the B2B industry or B2G, okay, business to government or business to business, commitment questions can also be used to get the prospect to take a series of smaller steps, smaller commitments that lead to the ultimate commitment of purchasing your solution. Okay, we call those micro commitments. All right, so little word right here, write down
Why would they be beneficial?
What's that?
Like, why would they be beneficial? Why is that a part of it? Why not just go in for the whole thing straight away?
Well, I mean, if obviously, if you're in a complex set environment, you're not closing on the first call, right? So if you're selling high-priced solution, let's say you're in cybersecurity and your solution's $290,000 and you're talking to Wells Fargo, you're not going to be closing them on the first call. And most businesses are like that. Unless you're talking to like tiny, small businesses, maybe you're selling like, merchant processing and you run into like a mom and pop laundromat. I mean, I don't know, like you're talking like, usually you're not going to close that on first call if you're selling B2B. Now, that's not always the case. There are some industries in B2B where it might be a one-call close, but it's very rare. Okay. So,
okay, cool. And so what you would do is you would plan out the commitments that you're trying to get on each call.
Yeah. So it'd be a commitment to take the next step. If you're selling SaaS or some type of software, it might be a commitment to take the next step and do a demo. It might be a commitment to take the next step and meet the department head. It could be a commitment to take the next step and meet the board, So you're getting these smaller commitments that lead to the big commitment of them purchasing.
Yeah. Okay. I asked that because I think a lot of the time people in those industries have extremely long sales cycles from what we've seen.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that could maybe be to do with the fact that they haven't really planned out those commitments and they leave it very wishy-washy.
Yeah. Like, oh, get back to me. Because we see this a lot, like even in B2B sales, is they'll do a somewhat successful first discovery call and they just kind of leave it in the prospect's hands to get back them. And now they're following up with them instead of getting a firm commitment for the next step. If you do not get a firm commitment, someone on your calendar in 2 days, 4 days, 6 days, whatever, even if you're in B2B or B2G, it's just going nowhere. You're going to be in chase mode, calling, emailing, and you're done. So you've got to use commitment questions to take those smaller steps to lead the sale. Like I said, depending on what your sales.
We had a client that works for a really, really large SaaS company, like huge company, and they have like a 8-month sales cycle. Yeah. And she came onto a training call and she was asking about this. I just said, listen, like if I were you, I would just do one thing. Just end every call with same time next week. Right. And then because on B2B, like that usually works to get the next meeting, same time next week. Boom. Perfect. Same time next week. It's like this is kind of the furthest you can possibly go. Do you know what I mean? With keeping within time frame. And she is now just from like that, she's now like the top producer by a country mile because she's closing people in 4 weeks.
Yeah. No, it's true because she has a scheduled next step. The other people are just right.
They really are. It's wild. And she just from 8 months to 4 weeks because of same time next week, just because they just didn't think of it. It's so weird.
No, I know. And sometimes it depends on like let's say you're selling more enterprise, there's tons of decision makers and influencers. Sometimes you have to shift around that schedule depending on what other people you have to meet in their schedules. So that's a whole nother training in itself. But we do that for our clients from virtual training platforms. Now, the second way we use commitment questions is when we're closing. We're getting them to commit to take the next step and purchase what you're offering to solve their problems and getting them where they want to go. Now, let's take a look at this, okay? So I'm going to give you a recap. And this is kind of messy because I did this training the other day for some clients. Remember, we're building the gap, starting with, connection situation questions. We call that their current state. What is their real situation? Most prospects don't even understand that when we first start talking to them. We build a gap with our problem awareness and the first half of our solution awareness questions. Okay, if you've been paying attention on these last podcasts, and then we get them to see what their future is going to look like once those problems are solved using solution awareness questions. All right. Now, actually, we're not going to go into that. Okay. Now, should I give them some examples of some nice, easy commitment questions, or what should I do for everybody?
I think so.
Okay. So let me give you a few just really easy things to do. And this will, we might make this more specific depending on your industry, but these are generic ones that work for any. So this is the biggest commitment question I ever asked in 4 completely different industries, 2 B2B, 2 B2C during my 17-year sales career. I would just simply lean in and just say, do you feel? Now, you never want to say, do you think? Why wouldn't we want to say, do you think? Why would we want to say, do you feel?
I'm not sure.
What?
Well, obviously I know, but I want you to kind of explain more in depth. People are here to see what I see. Obviously, you want to tap into more of the emotional side of the brain, but what are the benefits of doing that versus
when
tapping into?
You think this could be the answer for you. All you're doing is you're putting your prospect back into their logical-based thinking. Okay, you don't want human beings only make decisions on emotion. They justify with logic. By simply changing this word, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Feel is completely different than think. Feel is their right side brain, like their emotional side of their brain. Okay, that's where we want them. We want them to stay in their emotional state. So don't say, do you think? Say, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Now, typically, I want to have like a verbal pause here, right here. Okay, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Why would we want to?
Why would you put that there?
You want to have a verbal pause because verbal pausing causes the prospect to think deeper about the question you just asked. If I asked it fast, do you feel like this could be the answer for you guys? It's too fast. I'm going to get a knee-jerk reaction from the prospect because they don't think that. But if I lean and say, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Causes them to think deeper about what I'm asking. And I get the real truth. Now, most people are going to say, at this point, most people, I'm talking like 95% of your prospects, if you got them to this point, are going to say, yeah, I do, or I do, but, and then they're going to tell you one of their concerns, which that's what I want them to do if they have a concern. I want to know what it is. Well, I do, Jeremy, but I don't have the money. But I need to talk with Cindy. But I still got to get this approved from the board. Okay. So that's one simple commitment question that we've trained, hundreds of thousands of salespeople to use in every industry that is crushing it. What's one good one that you like to use that you train people?
I always use that. So do you feel like this could be the answer for you?
Okay, good.
It's basically the one that I use almost all the time. And the reason why I like it so much is because it's not asking for the sale. And that's really important. Like, we're not saying, so where do you want, so do you want to buy? It's not a binary question. It's an open-ended question. Yeah. So it invites conversation. They can say yes. And then from there, I immediately interrupt and go, okay, but why though? Very quickly before they've even finished.
Yeah, that's an NEPQ question. Hold on.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like that?
Yeah, because they might say exactly like you said. They might say, yes, but. So before the but comes out, I interrupt and ask them to say, but why though? And then I'll go a little bit deeper because I'm more B2C. And I'll go, well, what is it specifically like? What do you feel like from what I've kind of put together is, I don't know, the key to the castle for you.
Yeah.
And then I'm making them take out a specific and saying why that's the most valuable piece for them to get the result.
Yeah.
But all links back to the result. And then from there I go, well, that makes sense, I guess. You know? And then we go into the
and you can use that for B2C, B2B. It doesn't really matter. So you can simply say, well, do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Yeah, I do. Well, hold on. Why do you feel like it is? It's almost like you're skeptical. Well, why do you feel like this? Well, I like it because of this and that. Then you can use that question that you just used. Well, what specific aspects of what we went over today do you feel like are really going to get you where you're wanting to go? See, I could use that for anything. Okay. What specific aspects of the policy do you feel like are really going to be the best for sending the kids? Like if I sold life insurance, well, what specific aspects of going solar do you feel like are really going to help you the most? So if I sold solar, I mean, I could literally keep going on in every industry. Okay.
It's really important because it really gets the person thinking about like, well, like, why will it work? You know, and it's a very important step. That was a huge change for me as to how I sold before, because it got the person just going like thinking, well, you know, I really feel like, you know, this and this are the things that I really need and will really kind of get the result.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Well, you know, I don't have much else for you really from here. What we do is go ahead and, you know, organize your payment. And like, it's just such a nice, easy transition. It's open-ended. It's not binary, like the old option close, you know? Do you want the red, the blue, the black, and the white?
Do you want the red or blue one? Do you want to take delivery Saturday at 4 or Sunday at 5?
Yeah. I mean, from there, you still ask for the money and they can still go, no. Like, it's not.
Yeah. Now,
it works on laydowns and that's about it.
Yeah. One thing that I want to specify, because we see a lot of salespeople in every industry feel for some reason, it's not their fault, but it is their problem. They're just trained this, that they feel like, hey, can you give me some closing techniques so I can close more sales? The issue is prospects do not decide to buy when you ask a closing question. Your closing question, if you use an option close, do you want the red one or blue one, it's not like they just decide to buy because you ask them which option they want. If they say, I want the red one, that means that they had already decided from the conversation that they wanted the red one. It doesn't mean because you said, do you want the red or blue one, that automatically causes them to want to buy. That's not where the close happens. The close happens in the discovery part of your process where you build a gap from where they are to where they want to be. That's 85% of the sale. Closing is just 5%. I mean, you're talking like it's hardly anything. It's a few commitment questions at the end, but they've already decided to buy at that point, okay? Or they've got some type of concern.
It's really about not screwing it up.
No, 100%.
It's like long pitches and questions asked the wrong way at that point. The person's like, if we look at the way that I look at like sales resistance, is that the whole, like as soon as we present our offer, it spikes. So they're automatically like, the veil is now broken, even if we do it great. We've now we're presenting a solution with a price attached, right? So like, as long as you've done a good job keeping it low, then that spike is still lower than what it would be, because you can never regain that ground if you do stuff on the way. So like the presentation and the commitment phase of the phase where everything has to be really, really well thought out, because that's when you lose the sale. A great pitch will never make the sale, but a bad pitch will lose it.
That is very true. That's an excellent point. And so after we ask those few commitment questions, because typically when we ask 2 commitment questions, we want to have a probe in between. Hold on, why do you feel like it is though? Okay, and then the second commitment question, then like Matt said, well, I don't really have anything else to go over with you. It looks like we covered the basis of what you're looking for in X, Y, and Z. You know, really the next step would be is we make some type of arrangement for your XYZ purchase. You can use debit, credit card, invoice. It depends on if you sell B2B or B2C, guys. Depends on what you do there. And then at that point, and then you go over what the next step is. At that point, we onboard you with X, Y, and Z. And then at the end of that, you're just saying, would that be appropriate? That's it. Would that be appropriate? That's it. Nice and easy.
And the reason why would that be appropriate is it's an open-ended question that invites the next part of the conversation, which can be taking payment or it can be handling concerns.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you're never boxed in, and like is actually one of the most powerful parts of learning NEPQ was that not directly asking for the sale and asking for a yes, no binary
Yeah.
Right. And then having to work your way back so you can then handle rejections and concerns.
Yeah.
Like that is actually, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And going like, so would you like the A or the B? Which one works better for you?
Yeah.
Right. And then they're going to go,
well, that induces massive sales pressure.
Yeah. Huge amounts. And like you're putting yourself on the back foot because it works when it works. And when it doesn't, it's hard to recover from. It takes a lot of skill to work that back and then start to move the train forward again. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah, because when you get the prospect, when you trigger sales resistance and their guard comes up, you're now trying to get them to lower their guard the whole time. What we train you in NEPQ is we train you how to make sure their guard never comes up.
Yeah.
Just easier to sell. Way easier to sell, way less objections to deal with, way less time you have to work, and you make way more money, which that's all about. And you have way more of your prospects solve their problems and get what they want. So closing is really only 5% of the sales process. 85% is the discovery portion, okay? Doesn't matter if it's B2B, B2C, whatever. And then you've got about 10% here, which should be your presentation, okay? That's the breakdown of NEPQ. All right? And then when you get to that, would that be appropriate? Yeah, that'd be appropriate, but I have a question about this. Well, that'd be appropriate, but I'm not sure if I have the money. Okay. And that's fine because then they're at least telling you what the real concern is and there to help them overcome it.
Exactly. And it's an open-ended way of making sure that you're never like, I think if you're never, so the way that I look at it is like, you need to, when you put people into binary options, then like you're giving them two doors and they can choose one. Yeah. People don't like being confined to that. And so they end up sort of like pushing back on you a fair bit. So the way that I like to do it is like you open up, there's all the doors available to you. Yeah. Right. And then as we move down, all the doors are there, but I've locked them as they go. So like the amount of doors that are actually available are much smaller and smaller. Like if you give me, would that be appropriate? Yeah, but I'm not really sure about the money. Then we handle the money concern. We get to an actual like agreed upon, hey, so this payment, this much apart, that works in you guys' current budgetary constraints. Yes, it does. Okay, how would you like to proceed from here? Yeah. And then again, we can go, but now all the money doors are locked.
Yeah.
So like it's just a much more low pressure, higher skill. Yeah. But much more lower pressure way of doing it to where the prospect feels like they're always in control of their next steps. Yeah. But you're just kind of.
But in reality, you're in control because you're facilitating that. And what it does is that it causes them to feel like because you're open with them, they can be open with you. When you use old school closing techniques, the option close, trial close, Benjamin Franklin close, puppy dog close, they feel like they're boxed in.
Benjamin Franklin close? What's that?
It's where you write down a line through a piece of paper and write down all the positive things about the solution and then the negative things about the solution. And if there's more positives than negatives, you go with the positives. Believe it or not, there is a Benjamin Franklin.
That could go so badly.
That could go really bad.
That could go terribly.
There's 1,001 ways to close. The puppy dog closes. Why not just give it a try? Just give it a try. Puppy dog.
Oh,
just take the puppy. Just give it a try. Have the puppy come in your home. And they're hoping that you keep the puppy because the puppy's like, or like, hey, just take the keys to the car home. It's on us. Just drive around tonight. So they're hoping that you drive around. You're like, I love this car. That's the puppy dog close.
How interesting. Yeah, right. We should do a whole podcast on that.
No, there's 1,001 ways to close. You can buy the book. There you go. But no, this makes it easy. As a prospect feels that you're open to them. And because they feel like you're open to them, they start to trust you. As a salesperson, you try to box them in with old school closing techniques, they emotionally shut down. And that's why they stay surface level with you. And it's very hard to rebound. You'll get some like that, but you're just losing a ton that you could be making if you're working with human behavior like we're showing you, like our clients learn how to do in our virtual training platforms. All right, that's all we've got for today. Matthew, thanks for being on. Now, just as a reminder, go ahead. If you're on these podcasts, you're hearing us here and there going through different things. We keep it very light on here compared to what our clients learn in our virtual
light and breezy.
very light and breezy on the podcast. So your first step will give you a few more nibbles. Just you're welcome to go join our free Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. We go live in there 2 or 3 times a week, different Q&As, different trainings. Then you can message Matt or I in that group if you want far more advanced training for your industry, if you're wanting to double, triple, quadruple what you're doing right now. Also, make sure you go to Barnes & Noble, get the new book. It's a Wall Street Journal bestseller now. This is an old version 3 months ago. It has a big thing on there now, banner, Wall Street Journal bestseller. It's also a Barnes & Noble bestseller and an Amazon bestseller, top 5. So go to barnesandnoble.com, buy the book. It's like $17. We've made this very, very tactical for you. Tons of questions, different situations that will help you sell more. Jerry Acuff and I wrote this, just got launched, published 3 months ago. It's everywhere. Make sure you look for barnesandnoble.com to get the book. If you need $18 to buy the book so you can learn how to sell more, let us know. We'll help you start a GoFundMe page so you can sell more. Matt, I'm all cheeky in here. Matt, thanks for being on. We'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.